Bud Light's recent partnership with transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney is the focus of a recent controversy and target of right-wing backlash, NBC News reports. 26-year-old Mulvaney, who now has over 10 million TikTok followers and 1.7 million on Instagram, was one of Bud Light's partners during the NCAA basketball tournament. Hope I said that right. Last week, Mulvaney shared a sponsored post on her Instagram promoting Bud Light's March Madness contest. Let's watch some of that.
I kept hearing about this thing called March Madness, and I thought we were all just having a hectic month, but it turns out it has something to do with sports. And I'm not sure exactly which sport, but either way, it's a cause to celebrate. This month, I celebrated my day 365 of womanhood, and Bud Light sent me possibly the best gift ever, a can with my face on it.
In the following days, videos circulated online of consumers dumping their Bud Light products in the trash and destroying beer cans, NBC reports. American songwriter Kid Rock posted this video of him shooting at Bud Light cans in response to the Mulvaney partnership.
Let me say something to all you and be as clear and concise as possible.
I don't know about that response from Kid Rock. That's a little, violent imagery for my taste, even if you think that perhaps Dylan Mulvaney is not the ideal spokesperson for Bud Light. I mean, Dylan Mulvaney sounds like she doesn't follow basketball or drink beer very much. It'd be like you and I, Batya. Should we be the new spokesperson for the Bud Light, for NCAA basketball or Bud Light? When are we going to get our deal to rep some product we know nothing about and we're not the right representatives of for the demographic? I demand sponsorship. I demand corporate sponsorship, Batya.
Yeah, that video did strike me as a little bit too violent. I feel that the implication is just a little bit too close to shooting the one that has Dylan's face on it. And, I often criticize the language around, the trans genocide, which I think is a bit of a hoax. But videos like that certainly don't help. I mean, it doesn't help. And it was too violent. At the same time, I mean, who does Anheuser-Busch think is drinking Bud Light? Like, do they think that there is like a huge appetite for that among gay men or trans people or women? Like, that's not their constituency. And to fundamentally misunderstand, who this product is for, who enjoys this product. It's one thing to try to chase a new constituency, right? A new, consumer base. It's another thing to insult your current consumer base, and to act like Dylan Mulvaney is not a controversial figure is just ridiculous. And it just shows that sort of disconnect between, woke corporations on the one hand, and then the normie consumer. You see this across the board. You're seeing this with Disney. You're seeing this now, with Bud Light. These just a fundamental mismatch between, it would be almost like if you were trying to, it is hilarious, but like, let's say you wanted, a commercial for a cruise ship, right? I mean, what could be more middle America, normie, like, it's not the kind of thing that like the kinds of elites who are sort of totally bought into this, extremely far left trans agenda are into, right? You have to understand who your consumer base is. And when you insult them, they're going to boycott your product. And that seems like totally fair. I'm not into the shooting the thing. I think that went a little bit too far. Mm-hmm. But to boycott, to say vocally, you have fundamentally insulted us because this is not how we see ourselves. And this is a controversy and we're on the other side of it. I mean, they made their bed.
Well, to play devil's advocate to that, I mean, I'm not a big fan of boycotts in general. Like, I mean, that's something the progressives used to do a lot. We're boycotting, this product over Israel or something like, that's something that comes up a lot. And I'm always like, well, you're boycotting this, but you don't care about, X, Y, and Z issues. Or companies that don't want to headquarter or move into or have employees in states where there aren't sufficient civil rights protections for gay people or trans people. They want to boycott the state, but then they don't care about, they're not going to boycott China or Saudi Arabia or anything. So I tend to roll my eyes at boycott efforts, and I think a lot of conservatives did too. Although now, I hear talk of we should boycott Bud Light, we should boycott Disney. Does that ever add up to anything? It is a little bit in Florida with Disney because the governor, Ron DeSantis, is able to exert some actual legal pressure on them. I don't know if enough conservatives have ever actually risen up and gotten. Maybe it's happening in some broader sense with Netflix is not going to cancel Chappelle, that kind of. I think that the truly outrageous stuff is some of the woke pressure is not. The companies are realizing we don't actually have to listen to these people. But I don't know about boycotting individual product.
I upgraded to Spotify Premium after they refused to cancel Joe Rogan, just because I wanted to express my support for their backbone, which is so rare these days. Let me put this to you, Robby. What if the cans came with Dylan Mulvaney's face on them? Would you then understand why, let's say, a Christian family that used to very much enjoy this product might say, look, we don't want our children being exposed to this, our young children, our impressionable, middle school children, right? I mean, at some point, do you think that it's fair to say, maybe not in an organized way, but just in a private way, this is not a product we want in our home? Another example is my grandparents never allowed anything in the house that was made in Germany. They just felt like, it's too soon. And we don't want this in our home. Is there any version of that you would sanction, that you would understand?
Well, I guess I'm not saying I don't understand. Everybody can do whatever they want to do. Buy whatever products you want to buy. People are free to enact whatever grievances they have. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not going to buy Bud Light because I don't really drink a lot of beer, and it's as simple as that. Probably, I buy a lot of wine, and probably I would not pay any attention to whose face you put on the bottle. If it's a kind of wine I like at the price point I like, it's like nothing else really matters to me. But I think I'm just kind of allergic to the. Well, I say that. I'm sure you can find some example of me getting outraged about something and saying, I'll have nothing to do with this anymore. I just can't think of any off the top of my head, but people should do whatever they want, and companies should listen to their customers. I understand. This feels very needless because Dylan Mulvaney even seems to admit or concede to not being exactly the right representative of this product. So, which makes me think it's just kind of a stunt, They want people to be mad at them or be mad, ha, we poked you in the eye and you got upset about it. But I also just don't care. But I guess I understand why people care. But it feels designed to make people upset. But then I don't know.
And people, I think this is a very live debate on the right. I've seen people posting, people have said to me as well, this is a distraction from the real issues that the right needs to be focused on. They're focusing on this instead of on things like how to support railroad workers, how to support workers more generally. They're feeding you the cake of these, fairly enraging, this is what people have said to me. It's enraging, sure, but this is a huge distraction from what the right should be focused on, which is, catering to, delivering for the working class that is now their base. And instead what they do is hype up this nonsense that elites get really worked up over because they don't have, real economic concerns to care about.
If they're trying to,
and I think that's fair. Yeah.
Woke messaging, if it's trying to make conservatives mad, one response would be for conservatives to just not care, and then it doesn't have the desired. It's the I'm not touching you, stop hitting me kind of.
Right. Whereas with Dylan Mulvaney, it seems almost like conservatives watch her videos more than liberals. Every time there's a new video, you have some Daily Wire, commentary on it. Sometimes all the Daily Wire hosts are commenting on it on the same day. And I wonder, what percentage of, those 10 million TikTok followers work for the Daily Wire, and in that sense, it seems to be a totally symbiotic relationship, right? Dylan gets the attention that Dylan wants, and the Daily Wire gets the views that they want, right? But the working class gets left out, of course, and their real issues again become forgotten and ignored.
That's a great point. Oh, such a great point, Batya, which is why I'm so sad to announce the next thing before we go for the day. Batya, why don't you give everybody the very sad, from my perspective, news?
Yeah, me too. I'm going to have to be stepping away from Rising, at least for now. I'm focusing on a few projects at Newsweek and will not be joining you on Mondays anymore, although, of course, hope to stay in the Rising family. I think this show is just the bomb, and I think you're wonderful, Robby, and I so appreciate the time that you all have spent with me and allowed me to spend with you, and hope that we will stay in the family together, and I'm excited to come on as a guest once again when we can set that up.
Absolutely. Well, we'll be happy to have you back anytime. You know, I understand it's a really, this show is a full-time obligation. I also write for Reason Magazine. You also write and edit at Newsweek, and it's a lot to do everything. So totally understand that you're gonna work on some other things. We will love to have you back at some point in the future. As we too try to figure out how many days a week we're doing what things exactly, but it's been so wonderful spending these last many Mondays with you, and we'll be following your work, Batya. And for those of you at home, be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any content. And for those who like to listen while on the go, we're now available anywhere you can find podcasts. I'll see you back here tomorrow.